What's good, fellow geeks? Welcome to episode 25 of your go-to geeky podcast, Talks with Dorks. I am the host today because I deserve it. I have worked my ass off to be here, and you got me. So, I'm your host, Scott, and with me on the other side of the camera is my co-host today, Ryan.
Well, I can safely say the confidence that just went through you from I am nervous to me, I deserve it. Fuck the lot of you. Fair play. I like it. I was not expecting that on your first opener of the show.
I
Nice.
basically come in like The Rock there. I was like, what would The Rock do? It doesn't matter!
I bet you eat. Like, we'll make a clip of that little bit there, and you'll get acknowledged by him before I do.
Oh yeah, we were saying before this, you're about to go on to day 17. So, if by chance, Dwayne, you're listening, this man is waiting for the acknowledgement, and we acknowledge him as our tribal chief.
Wow. Okay. All right, do you know, I'll take that, mate. You're full of it tonight. I'm loving this.
Full of it.
This is going to be fun.
Oh,
Question for you, because you've you've been busy. How the hell was New York?
oh, damn. It was very cool. Very, very cool. It was a cool experience, and we spoke a lot while I was out there. I was a little nervous being on my own out there, but the final day, I just embraced it, went out on my own adventures, and yeah, I got my geek on. As you know. As you know.
It was like, for me, as I kept saying to you, it was like I've lived it. I've done that in different ways. Of when I did the repping for 10 years, you go a place on your own, technically, but
Yeah.
you obviously make friends and that. But going to America, I did that exact thing. There was a day I'd had a bit of a blip on my first evening in Las Vegas, anxiety wise and stuff. And the
Yeah.
next day, I said to my friend Alex, she was like, I'm going to go by the pool. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I need to go geek. I need to go geeky. And I jumped on a bus. I walked past a bum fight. So I literally see two homeless people fighting. I'm like, okay, it's a good start. And then I got on a bus and I went down to Fremont Street. I don't know how well you know La Vegas.
Not really.
You know Fremont Street just by the looks of it. It's where, like, if you've seen the Vegas zip line that goes across all the casinos,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that.
that's
Yeah.
Fremont Street. That's
Oh,
like the most
cool.
popular street. That's like the busy bit with the bars, and that's where you go to party, like in Las Vegas. And I went down there, and when I got there, um, they had a sound system. And do you know the song Kryptonite by Three Doors Down?
Yeah.
If I go crazy, that was playing. So I was like, just the right song, because I needed a geek, the right song. And I pulled out a phone and I was like talking about this song being played, and some guy dressed as Iron Man come over and got in my video, and instantly you can see it in my face that I knew that's just cost me $20.
Ah, damn.
But
Take my
yeah,
money.
I ended up going to a comic book shop and just spending like a couple of hours there, just like you did. You just went out and you went for the shit that you wanted to see.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool because I was obviously out there for work, and I had the event that I was filming the day before I went out and adventured on my own. So I had a lot of nerves and a lot of kind of paranoia, I guess, leading up to that. So then to actually go out on the Thursday and just be by myself, do what I need to do, Midtown Comics, Ghostbusters Fire Station, Friends Apartment, went to the movies by myself. It was really nice. So yeah,
You
it was a
forgot
cool
Central
experience.
Park.
And Central Park. Went there on the exact same day. Yeah.
Did you get me a video of you doing the Phoebe run through Central Park?
No.
Oh,
And the
I need
reason
to do
is
that.
it was freezing. Hence why I put this on. Hold the fort. Hold the fort. I'm right
I'm
here.
waiting. I know what's coming. I know what's
You
coming.
know what's coming. Ba-da-ba-da-da-da.
Oh, it's even better than I
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
thought.
Yeah, and I got like the front here. So on the front we've got Hook and Ladder 8, Tribeca.
New York, Tribeca, New York. So what was funny, I'm not gonna lie, I think I've told Woody, I think I might have told Tony, I told a couple of people about, I was showing them the picture of you outside the firehouse, and I said, but the WhatsApp video call was the funniest thing, because I think I said to you, like if they do merchandise, but I think you have to knock or wait
Yeah.
to see someone. And that fire truck turned up, and weren't the guy like reversing it in, and you went over.
I just I didn't even think about it because he didn't look like he was reversing in. He just because he had his hands in his pocket and he sort of was like leaning against the wall. And I was like, I'm just going to ask this guy. And I literally went to as I started speaking, he was just like, just put his finger up to me. I was like, oh, fuck. I've ruined it. I've ruined my chance.
I could see it all happening from your phone was down low, and I could just see your chin and it all happening. And you could see the look on your face. It'd say, "Oh no!"
Yeah, I was
I
like, they're
fucked
not
it.
going to let me in now.
But you did, and
Oh, yeah.
seriously, that only cost $20.
Yeah, yeah, 20. And I was trying to get the t-shirt because I know you said about a t-shirt and they just had no sizes in. And I was like, oh. And I didn't see the jumper properly at first. And then he pointed it out. He's like, oh, we got jumpers. And he's like, oh, I think we've only got extra large. And I was like, ah. And then he was like, and then he asked the guy. And then he was like, oh, no, we got large. And I was like, yep, take it.
To be
Sold.
fair, mate, for $20, that's really good. And obviously,
Yes.
I don't even know if you said it. I, I asked Scott for this. To be fair, I'm actually happier with the hoodie because I've got a Ghostbusters t-shirt. So the
Oh, cool.
hoodie, especially because hopefully if I finally get it off you, I'll try and pop by and swing by and grab it off you. It's my new work jumper.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
going
it's
everywhere.
so
So I can
cozy
go,
as
guess where
well.
this come from?
That's from the OG
And
place.
do not wash it because I want it to smell like you.
Yes. Yes,
Mm.
definitely. Mm-mm-mm.
Sex. So, I don't actually know. You obviously you went to the friend's apartment, which obviously, as we know, it isn't where they filmed because they actually filmed in Los Angeles. But it's
Yes.
the apartment you always see that was implied to be theirs. There was a
Yeah.
coffee shop down below. Did you go in?
No, the reason I didn't go in was because it's very small, which I didn't realize. It's probably like five, six tables in there, and everyone was in there. And I was like, I don't really want to get a takeaway coffee. Like it's just pointless. So I hung around for a bit to see if anyone left, but no one was leaving. And like I said, it was freezing that day, and that's the point when I was like, right, I need to do something inside. So I looked it up. I saw there was a cinema nearby, and I was like, I've got to experience an American movie. And I went to see Red One, which released on that day, but it wasn't out here in the UK yet. So I actually got to see it before it came out in the UK, which was really cool. But yeah, I didn't have the opportunity to go into the coffee shop, but it it wasn't anything special. I thought that because I looked in the window and I thought they might have had a little bit of kind of merch and stuff up, but I think they just had a few pictures up, nothing major. And it was quite funny as well because there was a guy standing next to me when I was taking photos of the building, and he said to the person he was with, he was like, "Oh wow, the coffee shop looks the spitting image of Central Perk." And in my head, I was thinking, "You have never seen Friends because that looks nothing like it. It
You,
is the complete opposite."
even if just from the picture it doesn't even look anything like it. So,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not supposed to be, but like it's complete opposites. Different color
if
outside.
if you think about it, if it's meant to be implied that that is Central Perk, it's like it's really not. Like it's
Yeah.
obvious it's not. One Central Perk is green, that's red.
Yes. But yeah, so I was like, right, I'm gonna get out of this area, and then I had a little stop in at the Forbidden Planet shop. So I went in there, looked at a few kind of action figures, comics, and Funko Pops. I wanted to grab something, but I also knew that my suitcase was not shutting as it was, and yeah, I couldn't be bothered to carry any things with me 'cause it was freezing, my hands were cold, and I was on my own. So I was like, if I get robbed now, I will be really annoyed.
You avoided like the Bronx and Hell's Kitchen and that then.
Yeah, yeah, swear them. I wasn't far away from Hell's Kitchen though. Yeah, because on my maps I see it nearby. It was probably a little bit more of a walk out to the left where I was, but yeah, it was a cool experience overall being in New York.
Funny enough, on the last episode when it was just me and Wood, we were talking about his when he was really young and he saw Superman Returns in Florida.
Oh wow.
He said it was a mad experience because at the end everyone jumped up cheering and clapping and stuff like that. And I was like, I remember his dad telling me, my brother Mark. So was it like that there? Was people like, really involved?
Yes, yeah. So I made sure I got a seat kind of on my own in a nice little area. The cinema room, like the screening room, was huge. And the seats were really cool because they were all cushiony. You could like recline back on them a little. And there was a lot of people there on their own as well, which made me feel a lot better. But there was a group just behind me to my right. And I think it was like a group of three women. And it was so funny because they must have really liked The Rock. And whenever he was on screen, they was like calling things out. And there was a few points in the film that he'd done something, and then like they'd stand up and they'd be like, "That's it, you do that."
Jeez. I
Yeah,
know.
they was like proper going for it. At one point, it was a little bit annoying, but towards the end, it was quite funny. But throughout, it was like, right, you be quiet now.
Yeah, no, I don't think I could cope with that. I like going to see a film and just watching the film. I don't mind people laughing, that talking,
Yeah,
shouting.
I
Shut
like
up.
when it's a reveal. So like when we see these like superhero films lately, when something happens and everyone's like, "No!" Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's fine.
when it's just a bloody Christmas action film and The Rock's just done something very mediocre and they're cheering it, it's like, come on now, calm yourself down.
But this is why we're fans of The Rock because he's just a hunk in every sense, and he's just so talented. Please
Yes,
acknowledge me, Dwayne. Come
just
on.
acknowledge me. Just
Just
acknowledge me.
all right, realistically, I'd be happy with just a like
Yes.
on one of the videos. Cool, he's acknowledged me. There you go. Bang, I'm acknowledged by The Rock. Done.
Can you imagine if he does like another video replying to you? That'd
That's,
be
I mean,
pretty cool.
that's the goal in it. That's the
That
big
would be
aim.
cool.
But to be fair, I've probably aimed a bit higher. Do you know what I mean? Like I put, if this is going to become my thing on TikTok, maybe I should have started with someone like I don't know, Danny Dyer. Not saying that Danny Dyer is any less of a man than The Rock, but he's only down the road. It might be a bit
True.
easy.
Yeah. But go big or go home, they say.
Probably should have started with the Wildstone Raider. You got no fans?
He probably is too big now. He just can't reply.
I
Well,
mean, yeah.
on that note, I'm bowing to you for anyone that's just listening. And you know why? Because we are here to talk Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2. Woo!
Hey, oh damn, 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 damn. I just wanted to clear something out. You said you watched a lot of it on the plane,
I watched the whole Part 2 on the plane.
right? Because when I thought you meant you watched all of Cobra Kai for the first time while you were away, basically.
No, 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 no.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Where did
I've
where
always
did you
been a
start?
huge fan. Where did I start?
Did you start with
S-
Netflix or when it was on YouTube?
I watched on YouTube the first two episodes.
The ones that were free.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really enjoyed them. And I was at a stage where I was like, "Ah, I really don't want to pay for it. So I'm just going to hang about and kind of see where it goes and if it picks up. Um, And then when they released it on Netflix, I was like, yes, like this is it. And I binge watched every season. There's not been a season where I've like watched an episode, leave it, come back the next day. There's been some seasons where I've watched half the season and then like maybe a few days later I'd watch the other part of it, which is probably good why they released it in parts for this one because it was becoming a little bit of a problem, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in love with Cobra Kai.
Mate, it's honestly, I keep saying this, like the fact that there is literally, I mean, I'm hoping maybe because there's the film coming up after
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid Legends.
Yes.
I'm hoping maybe they'll come back to it, but honestly, this is one of them shows. There is, like right now, there's 5 more episodes. I do not
Yes.
see a way of them fucking this up because it's just one of them
No.
shows that's grown and grown and grown. The fact that
Yes.
it had such a weird start with YouTube taking it and no
Yeah.
one wanted to pay for YouTube. I won't lie, I might have seen all of it and not paid for any of it in a in a
Ooh. Ooh.
in a way, but it was had this feeling of like this is really good, but like it's not going to come of anything because literally no one watching it. And
Yeah.
you're talking to people like people I know that love the Karate Kid films. Have you seen Cobra Kai? What's Cobra Kai? Never even heard of it. It's a TV show.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, what's it on? It's on YouTube. I ain't paying for that. But then the fact that it hit Netflix. I mean, not, and it was like 2 or 3 years later,
Yeah, yeah, it was quite a while after. It
and
it
it
was
went.
weird as well because yeah, like it just I was about to say like it's transitioned from YouTube to Netflix, and obviously it just took over. And it's weird how they tested it with YouTube instead of throwing it out there to Netflix. Like they must have had some kind of thought
I think
about, is
YouTube,
that gonna work?
if I'm correct, YouTube bought the rights to the Karate Kid, or had
Oh,
the
they
rights
did.
to do with. I know Will Smith's got a big hand in it because you look on
Yeah,
everything. He's obviously executive producer since when his son was in the Karate Kid. So I think there's something to do with the Netflix. YouTube got the rights, and it was to be their big thing of let's get people on us and paying for us, like
yeah,
Netflix, like Prime and stuff like that. But it just didn't work because people are
yeah,
like, I'm going to start paying for YouTube now.
yeah, yeah. I think it was a smart move switching to Netflix. Like you said just a moment ago, there's fans of the Karate Kid films that didn't even know anything about this. Because I remember when I spoke to my parents about it, obviously they watched the Karate Kids when they was younger, and then I was introduced to them. I took up karate. I'm a black belt, by the way, if anyone wanted to know.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm a black belt in karate. No one
Mate,
ever believes me when I say this either.
I'm more concerned for Tony's health right now. I don't think he knows that. I really
But I'll
hope he
touch.
watches these
I'll,
episodes
I'll,
before he carries on fighting.
but I will touch on that a little bit more later. But yeah, so I remember I saw the first episode on YouTube, and I went in and I spoke to my mum and dad. I was like, "I've just watched Cobra Kai," and they was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Cobra Kai is the spin-off show for like the Karate Kid," and they was like, "What? Like where has this come from?" And I showed them a trailer, and they was like, "Oh, how do we watch it?" And I was like, "Oh, I was on YouTube," and then it was obviously the payment. It was very technical for my parents at the time, so it was like, "Oh, we won't watch it." And then it comes to Netflix, and they were straight on it. And then, like you said, it exploded everywhere, and it's where we're at now. And it is a very very popular show on Netflix.
Of the original film, I'm just going to assume you've seen one, two, three, and the next Karate Kid. Have you?
Yes,
Have you
yes.
fucked with number
Um,
40? Because a lot of
yeah,
people have never.
did.
A lot of people haven't
Yeah.
seen three that are big fans of one
Oh,
and two.
really?
So I know certain people are, I've never seen number three. I'm like, it's not as strong as one and two, but
Yeah.
it's a good film, and I
It's still
love
good.
Mike
Yeah.
Barnes. I think Mike
Yeah,
Barnes
yeah.
is a great character.
Yeah, I think it's
In-
good.
But what's your favourite of them all?
The Karate Kid movies.
Mm.
Um, I think the first one will always be very loved because of yeah the first one, the introduction to the characters. But I really love when they go to Japan as well. I find that like really cool that one, and obviously that's when you see Young Chosen as well.
Mate, honest to God, he is the best character in that
Mm,
whole show. Like I
I
love them
love
all.
him.
They're all so well casted, but
Yes,
Chosen is fucking brilliant for when he's
brilliant.
serious and when he's not.
Yeah,
He's
how he
so good.
flips it is so brilliant, and I love how we'll get into it, but at the start, how he is at the start of this part two of the season.
And how he ends as well.
Yes,
He's an absolute
yes.
player, absolute don. Um, yeah, number two is my favourite. Like
Number two.
because it's one of them things I've mentioned many times. Back in the day, didn't have access to have all the films I wanted. I had certain ones on VHS, and it was always the sequels to films like Back to the Future. Two is my
Oh,
favourite.
okay.
That's the one I had as a kid. Karate Kid 2 is the one. But it is like that story, like all of it, including his uncle, including the
Oh yeah.
drums. Oh mate, I
Yes.
had one of them drums as a kid.
I loved them. Loved it. Yeah, I love the whole. What's the movie he does when he's like
When Chosen come in it and they started to obviously when he first turned up, I was like, oh, is he still really? He's really going to be angry. But as soon as they went to fight, my head went, I know what's about to happen. I know what he's going to do. And when he disables Daniel when he moves, and he like takes his arms
so
and
good.
he does the thing. It's like that is 30 years in them, straight up. It's one of the and it showed you who he is now. And like I said, when he gets drunk in season 5 and they go to Terry Silver's house.
Oh
He,
yeah.
he takes a fucking beating, but like when he first gets drunk, it's so funny.
Yes, it's so funny.
I was going to say, good segue into the start of this season, or season 6, part 2. Obviously, we're left originally with them getting to the Sekai Taikai. We see Cobra Kai is there. We also then get the reveal that Tori has now joined the team, which was obvious that was going to
Yes.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Right, this starts, and I generally did not think we were going to get any of the other teams be a factor in this, really. I thought
Me too.
maybe one, but these teams, they're badass teams, especially,
Yes.
I'm going to throw in now. Who are the ones in greens? Well,
I can't remember what their name are, but that's the girl that says "Welcome to Barcelona," bitch, right?
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
in Barcelona.
Barcelona. It's
Um,
Barcelona, you dipshit.
I'm doing
Yeah,
the
no,
Iron
I know.
Dragons. The Iron
What is it?
Dragons. The Iron Dragons.
The Iron Dragon. Thought there was like dragons in it somewhere. Yeah, the Iron Dragons. They're super cool. Yeah, I like how they, like you said, when we first saw the tournament, I thought it was just going to be the Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. And in my head, when it ended like that for the first part, I was like, I really hope that we do actually get to see a bit more of other teams, maybe. And yeah, they delivered on that. They introduced them. Even the Irish ones were funny.
Yeah,
The way that you just hear like a few lines coming from them, and it's just so much anger from them. And it's like, yeah, that represents them very well.
gonna have to come back to it, but the team obviously that later get disqualified. When that happens, I had this like because you're like, oh, right, Cobra Kai's going back in because it was a big thing that Cobra Kai obviously gets evicted. So I can't remember the team for winning, but the fact that I was like, really, like, what was the point of that? And the fact that that actually leads to the end was like
Yeah,
when they appear at the end is like. By the
yeah.
way, anyone that's listening or watching this by this point, if you haven't realised and if you haven't seen Cobra Kai season 6, part 2, or any of Cobra Kai, it's probably an idea to switch off. Spoiler warning. Uh, there'll be people going, fuck, I didn't realise. They're spoiling it.
That's it. Dislikes. Video dislikes. Yeah, I was gonna say the what you're saying here about how Cobra Kai gets put back into the competition. At first, I was like, but obviously it makes a lot of sense. But it's a knock-on effect by them getting disqualified, Cobra Kai going back in. All these little things start happening that leads to the final point that we see within this season. And I love when shows or films do that. Is something happens where it's like, I'm not too sure how they've like crawled their way back into it, but then it all leads to some dramatic finish in that story there.
That everyone had a really good arc. I mean, even I was
Mm,
kind of concerned that Dimitri and Hawk would kind of get left out a little bit, and their storyline was a little bit more subtle in this part.
very, yeah,
But very good how it leads to like kind of them always bickering and fucking things up for each other. It
yeah,
leads into a good moment. It's Hawk. Like, I love the fact that they use that set Hawk sound every time he does a big kick.
yeah. I noticed that. The
It's
first one, I
so
was
not.
like, was that a hawk sound? And then the second time, I was like, I see what they're doing here.
It just brings me to a point of right, and completely kind of off topic, but have you seen that they've been fan castings many times for the Cobra Kai kids to be the new Power Rangers?
I've not seen this.
So there's been cast. Obviously, Power Rangers is in a bit of a rut. Like, it's technically at the moment it's ended. Power for the first time in 30 odd years, it's now over. But
Oh
people are
wow.
talking about them doing it like if they started again and they went back to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I don't know your knowledge on the original 6 Power Rangers.
Yeah, I've like only seen things here and there.
Right. So the original team was red, blue, pink, yellow, and black, and then
Okay,
added
yeah,
my favourite, green, who's kind of he originally is a bad guy, joins the team. So red is the leader, blue is the brains, black is like the cool, dancer, kind of smart, smooth guy. You've got Pink, obviously the girly Power Ranger, and then the Yellow Ranger, who's also a girl, is kind of smart, like very, what's the word? A kung fu fighter as well, a fighter as well, smart, and a good strong person. So whereas you've got the contrast of the two girls, one's very girly but can fall, and the other one's very a bit more serious. And then obviously you've got Tommy. So I was looking at this thinking, I mean, yes, I agree with most of the casting that they did with this, but because of like the way it was, I changed a little thing. Green, they cast Robbie as the Green Ranger.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I'm cool with that because Robbie has got a bad boy side,
Yeah.
and he's also kind of like unsure of himself, which the Green Ranger needed to be. And he's got the longer hair. The Green Ranger had longer hair, so it
Okay.
kind of worked. Red. Now everyone they put down like Miguel to be red because he's the main guy and stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, no, Red needs to have an attitude. Hawk all day
Hulk.
long,
Mm.
all day long. Pink for the girl, Sam, girly that can turn it on.
Okay. Yeah.
Blue, geeky, Dimitri, straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yellow they've put down as Tory. And I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
that's good, but I prefer Devon. I think
I was
Devon,
gonna say Devon should be like for some reason she just gives off that kind of vibe that she would be
there's a
a
lot
Power
more to
Ranger.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
I
lot
feel
more
that.
to her. But come back to Tory. And then Black Ranger, Miguel. Miguel is obviously, yeah, you come
He's
across, it could easily be the Red Ranger because he's Blue Beetle as well as being the main kid in the whole of Cobra Kai. But I was like, Miguel, he has a charm about him that he could play the Black Ranger.
okay. Yeah.
Going to Tori, because she's got that bad girl side of it, I put her as the bad guy, Rita Repulsa. Again, you might not know it, but she's like the very first evil bad guy that the Power Rangers face.
Okay.
Like the
Yeah.
queen, the witch, the queen of the bad guys. Anyway, just having to reference Power Rangers, but I saw that as a nice little segue. Back to Cobra Kai itself. Where where did you think this season was going to go? And did you have any idea it would end the way it did?
Um, I I wasn't sure where they was going to take it because I knew that there was another part to come. I didn't know where the kind of story was going to get cut. I didn't think we was going to see. I mean, we didn't see it technically end, but I didn't think we was going to see the end of the tournament in this part, which we still haven't. I know that, but obviously with the ending, I'm not sure where they take it next. But I think I was expecting to see build up to maybe like the finals, and then it ends on a cliffhanger for which it comes back to the finals with some kind of dramatic twist. But I didn't see it playing out the way it did. I felt like somebody was going to die. I had that feeling, but in my head, and the way they did play it out, which I think a lot of us thought was going to be Miguel's mum.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, that's what I thought, and then it kind of in my head I thought they kill her off, and then it leaves. Oh my god, why has my brain gone dead? Johnny. It leaves Johnny having to take care of Miguel and Robbie. That was my kind of thoughts, and that's how I thought that we would sort of end maybe on that for this season, and then obviously it comes back to the final, and maybe Miguel and Robbie and um, Johnny. I keep forgetting his name for some reason. I keep wanting to say him Sensei Lawrence.
Call him that then. You can need to
Yeah,
call him because, like,
yeah,
if you forget his
um,
name in real life, he'd just be quiet.
yeah. So yeah, I thought that that's how this season would end, and then it opens with the finals in the final part. But we did see a death. It wasn't Miguel's mum. And yeah, I don't know if you want to touch on that yet. We can come back to that.
So Miguel's mum, like that thing, I'm not gonna lie, that's the one part of the maybe two slight little.
Hiccups.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, sure. Because like, did you
Mm.
not feel like they spent half an episode flying back there?
I was going to say the exact same thing. And they still
So
managed
they
to get back ready for the
in
next round, right?
to fucking Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a lot of kind of like little things there, like attention to detail that they might have just slipped on a little.
That was the one thing that made it feel like they were dragging a bit out because it was like I get that it kind of got us to get Kenny to come over, etc. And I've completely forgot Daniel's son's name.
Daniel's son.
Daniel's son.
Oh, Daniel's son, Anthony. Oh, yes, Daniel's son.
Yeah, Daniel's son. We haven't even got to him yet. So yeah, I get that they needed to get them out there, but it kind of like felt like they come all the way back. Don't worry, she's alive.
Yeah. Back to it.
And you better get back. I'm over. Okay, straight away. It was like they literally just got back. It's like turn round, get back on there. Fuck the jet lag because like they
Yeah.
would be fucked from that.
Yeah.
Literally fucked from all of it. Like, it's got to be what 10 hour, 12 hour flight.
Yeah, yeah, that's a 10-hour flight, 100% there, and then they get there, and then having to get back. Like, there's no way that you went to the hospital and then straight back to the airport within such a short time frame, get a flight in time back, and still make it for that next round. But yeah, it's just attention to detail. But on that scene there, I did really like, and I put it down for some notes to just touch on, is when Miguel's mum done the Rocky quote. I don't know if you noticed it. When she's like, she says win, and then like she turns to Miguel and she says win. And I can't remember what Rocky film it is. I want to say number 2 or 3. I think it's Adrian that says that when she's in hospital, and she says win, and then it's like win, and then that's when Mickey's like, come on, Rocky, and then they just go back off and obviously goes on to the film. But yeah, it was quoted there in the Karate Kid. I only spotted it because she said it, and I was like, that sounds familiar. Didn't pick up on it. Got home the next day. I was on Twitter or TikTok, and someone put like the clips next to each other, and I was like, oh, that's the one. But yeah, it was quite a cool thing there, and then obviously it went into like the montage thing as well, which was cool.
I like that they're like hopefully finally we're going to see Danny and Johnny like actually find a way to make this work because
Yeah,
especially with Chosen as well because again Chosen I because of part 1 of season 6 where he goes off back to Okinawa I was like please don't tell me
yeah.
he's not coming back
I
like
thought that. Mm.
but then he appears there's like a social gathering at the Sekai Taikai and Chosen appears out of nowhere pissed as fuck and
Oh,
just
that's
makes an
brilliant.
absolute. But was you cringing? I was like, oh, Chosen, no, this is not how
Yeah,
they get to meet you.
yeah, because I love his character, and he's such a serious character. And then when he has a drink, it's like everyone, it just sort of slips, and it was their opportunity to kind of shine, and he just comes in and just causes a scene, and you just can't help but think, ah, Chosen.
And I didn't think again. I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna have to go back up on my. I don't want to. I want to be careful what I press because I feel like I might have been the one that stopped the recording before. What is her name? Kim Day.
Oh, Kim. Yeah,
Kim
I
Dae.
like her character.
I struggled with her at the beginning, but then
Same.
found I was like, yeah, something about her I like, and then it made it like in this thing like we're gonna start to like her a bit more because obviously
Yes.
they end up having a relationship, and it's the looks they give each other.
Yeah.
It's brilliant,
And it's the
absolutely
first
brilliant.
time we see Kim with her hair down, if I remember rightly. That's the first
Yeah,
time. And it was obviously she's
beautiful.
got sand in her hair and up her sleeve. And it's just the awkwardness of that morning after and when they're having coffee. And then when Chosen, it's like, I know she says oh no, one of them says, oh, it's just like a one-time thing. And then Chosen's like, well, two-time if you count the morning.
Count the morning.
That's the side of
He's
him that I really love. He just sort of gets really unserious all of a sudden. It's brilliant.
But again, like go back to is it season 5 where Mike Barnes appears when they first go to his
The warehouse. Yeah.
warehouse and it Chosen's out the back, and then like they have that sort of scrap, don't they? Danny and him have that scrap, and they figure it out quite quickly. He's not a bad guy anymore, stuff like that. And then Chosen's like, you go outside all of them. They're just warehouse guys, just all laying on the floor.
Yeah. He's a brilliant character. I'm so glad they brought him back and they've extended that. They've not just brought him back for a feature; they brought him back for like a good period.
Part of me thinks like have the only person I think I can, unless I'm wrong, they haven't still haven't referenced is the next Karate Kid. I can't remember her name,
Oh,
but
um,
I know they brought the girl in it, the from the third one, the friend,
yeah,
because they went to the bar, didn't they? And it turns
that
out
was when
she's
they
the
was
one
competing again, weren't they?
yeah, and it turns out she was the one that introduced. No, I don't mean Ali. I mean
Oh,
the girl from the third film that becomes Daniel's friend.
yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
Yeah,
I feel
but
so sorry that I don't remember her name.
it's the thing when you do this, unless you've got it written in front of you, you forget everything. I could easily go on here, the Karate Kid franchise, open it up,
Go
and go
on,
to right, the
get her
Karate
name.
Kid
We have to
Part
get her
Three.
name. Lay some respect
It's
on her.
literally there. Robin Lively as Jessica Andrews.
Jessica
Jessica,
Andrews.
to Jessica.
That's the one.
She's brought
Jessica.
in like season 4 or 5, and
Mm.
it's her that basically explains that she's the one that set Daniel and Amanda up. So that's
Yeah.
cool, little callback to that as well. But like, will we get a reference before the last 5 of the next Karate Kid? Because she's literally not the only one. She was brilliant in that. The film wasn't strong.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think she played a really good part in that. I just think the story probably was a bit weak on that side of things. But going back to what you're saying there could be something in the next part because the rumor is that the final part may feature Jackie Chan's character. Um, is it Mr. Hun?
Yeah.
I think there's rumors that he's going to feature like right at the end, which is going to be the link for the Karate Kid movie. So there could be maybe some reference there, but I don't know. I feel like like you said, they have done really well in terms of connecting little bits and pieces and giving us the nostalgia throwbacks and introducing those characters again.
While moving
Um,
it all forward.
well, yeah, and it's not like they spend too much time on it. They do it in an advancing way to keep that story going and relevant to what is focused on now, which is the new generation with all this saga that's going on.
And yeah, let's dive into the kids because we can go into the old school characters, but probably not a phrase I want to reuse again, thinking about it.
We can't go down this alley again.
We're not going down that. Really think about that phrase. I'm trying to be really good. I'm trying to be really good and not
Oh
talk
god,
about all that stuff, but now I'm throwing it. Let's talk about the younger generation of the Cobra Kai
that's the one.
cast. It's better on it. That sounds good. I I I was struggling with Quan
Mm,
because he's a dick. But then it's one of them things where sometimes I have to remind myself, if I don't like someone, they're doing a fucking good job in that role.
yeah, and
Because
that's
that's what they're
that's
meant to be
literally
doing.
his job is to make people not like him. And you know what I thought with his character as well. So obviously when the Karate Kid movies come out, that was the 80s, right? The Karate Kid movies. So
Yeah.
obviously the dialogue and story and how characters are portrayed is quite. I mean, like new generation people watching those films from like the 80s and that they might find it a little cringe how they come across. And I feel like Quan had some of those characteristics, but it was kind of like he was being a over the top dick at times, and it was like, all right, man, chill out. But it's cool
He was
because they
very much like
do.
a young chosen.
I was just about to say it's cool how they do that because they make him seem like the young chosen, how he was in the Karate Kid movie. So yeah, I like you said, I didn't like him to start, and I was like, okay, this is a bit over the top of his character. But then, as the episodes went on, I was like, okay, he's a cool character in a way that you're a baddie and you're a bit of a dick, but I like that.
And obviously we'll get into what happens to him. He's obviously throughout this he's being more of a dick. And you'd think there was going to be this is where I was not expecting it to be him because you'd think he was going to get a little bit of redemption before that happens.
Yeah,
But so that you'd think, all right, he's going to be a dick and somehow he's going to turn out that he's had a really bad child or something's going to happen. You get him a bit of like, oh, all right, sympathy for him. Then he gets killed. But no,
yeah,
I generally believed towards the end that it was probably going to be actually either Kreese or Silver that died, but more
Oh, okay.
likely Kreese. I had this
Interesting.
thing, but then I was like to my head, they did that last time where he nearly died. He
Yeah.
was meant to have died and he didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it's Silver that's going to bite it. And as I'm like sort of trying to sum to, and the knife then not with him.
So you thought it was Silver or Crease that was going to be killed off there. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be. So throughout the episodes, I knew there was a death coming. Not 100%, but I knew that they was going to throw something in there that dramatic. And when it built up to that final point just before that happens, I thought that it was either going to be Johnny or Daniel, and more so Daniel when obviously he was going over, because obviously Quan picks up the knife, Daniel's running over there, and I was like, oh my god, like he's gonna get over there to try and stop it, and Quan's gonna get him, and I was like, oh, they can't do that. And then I thought, nah, they're not. He's not gonna die because I know that he's in the Karate Kid movie next,
Yeah,
so it kind of shut that off. But I didn't expect it. I didn't expect him to obviously put the knife into himself by accident. That was a real twist. That was a real twist for me. And I don't know. I liked it, but I also would have liked to have seen Quan a bit more, because it was like we said, they built him right up, and it was to that point where he was likable as a villain, and now he's like out of that. I don't know kind of how the next part's going to go. Obviously, it'll be the aftermath, but now we're missing that big villain there. But we still have other villains to deal with. But yeah, it was a huge
I
twist.
think the Iron Dragon Sensei and
Silver, yeah,
the big bad guys of the last part of Silver and yeah, the Iron Dragon, because that Iron Dragon Sensei, he's a fucking beast.
yeah. And I feel like we've got to see him fighting Daniel or Johnny or somebody in that area, because that would be a badass fight.
What do you think's happened? Like, because we still haven't had the full conclusion of the Mr. Miyagi mystery. Obviously, we
Mm,
got part one. We knew that we found out that he had been involved in the Sekai Taikai. I believe we found that in part one, but we knew there
yes,
was more to his story that Daniel didn't know. This one, we then find out that he killed somebody in the Sekai
yes.
Taikai, which I think will be. I believe it's going to be an accident. It's not going to be unless there is some fucked up side of Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, yeah. No, I thought when they introduced that storyline of digging deep into his past, and we find out that he was involved with the tournament, and then to find out that he killed someone, when that come to our kind of knowledge there, I was like, this has got to be some kind of accident, because there's no way that they're gonna sabotage Mr. Miyagi's kind of character over like
No,
all these years.
he
Um,
will get his redemption. It's Mr. Miyagi.
yeah, and I think that it'll all lead to kind of the full goodbye and closure of Mr. Miyagi's character. There will still be mentioned like in the next movie maybe, but I think it'll be a nice kind of sentimental conclusion to Mr. Miyagi's story.
Well, we were talking about it just before we started recording because I was watching the scene, but the opening scene for the 10th episode of the whole season, but the fifth episode of part two, is like I was watching. I think I might have been watching that beginning bit either on the plane to Tenerife or when I was having a nap. I put it on before I went to sleep, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, that's a young Mr. Miyagi. I see why they've got to do that.
This is
Do that
so
because
good.
they can't bring him because they've one thing they've done to like honour him throughout the seasons. He's always referenced. There was a scene I remember where you saw his garden and you saw kind of over his shoulder
Oh
the back of
yes.
someone
Mm.
that you could tell wasn't him. But they start this scene with a young Mr. Miyagi, and first off I was like, don't know if he looks like, and then I was like, no, do you know what? That's what he probably would look like, a
Yeah.
young, strong, prime life Mr. Miyagi. Because
Hair.
yeah, hair. We were introduced to him obviously later on, and then when he spoke, it was like, okay, you've kind of got the accent, but like I said, I've literally screenshotted the picture when he closes his eyes and he's there. That CGI and the voice,
So
mate,
good.
honestly,
Yeah.
honest to fucking God, looks so good.
Yeah,
And
so I was sorry, go on, carry on there.
I was just, it was like he was there. It was fully like he was there for that scene.
Yeah, and we was saying briefly before we got into this episode, because I think we do this a lot with the podcast, is we get really excited talking about it, and we're like, oh shit, we should talk about this on the podcast. But yeah, I was saying for anyone that's listening or watching, I was saying to Ryan that as I was watching this on the plane from New York, I had two people sitting next to me. Obviously, everyone's in that phase where they're falling asleep. I'm just watching Cobra Kai, and this scene happens. So you're seeing the young Mr. Miyagi, and you're like, oh my god. And then, like you said, it's like, oh, does he look like him? And then I was the same. I was like, yeah, he does like a good representation here. And then the voice comes, and then the switch to CGI. I was saying to you, I just remember looking around in shock, as if like I needed to react to someone, and no one was there. I can imagine the woman next to me was looking like, this guy is crazy. But yeah, it was such a cool moment to actually feature him, and that's so cool. I know I keep saying that, but the technology that they have now for these shows and movies is so really nice. That how they can just do that, and to see Mr. Miyagi
Well,
again, spot on.
sometimes they do it great. Sometimes Henry Cavill has a CGI moustache that just does not look okay. Superman, as horrible as it sounds,
Uh,
Superman should not look like he's had a stroke because his
yeah,
face was horrendous. I saw a picture of that the other day, and it was ironically around the same time I watched the Mr. Miyagi. I was like, how, how can they get? It's not. I know it was 7 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever. But
yeah,
that's. I mean, they can
they
fucking
should
do
have had that
that.
then.
Yeah, that was terrible. But Mr. Miyagi, again, he's going. We're going to get a redemption of that. Again, this it might be that we don't, and that's what goes into the movie. Is the
Ah,
Mr.
yeah.
Miyagi legacy? We don't know because I think once Part Three's out, that's when we'll get the trailer.
Yes. So I've seen something of theory wise that there could be a link that Mr. Hun had some kind of connection with Mr. Miyagi. So yeah, they like you were saying that it could end Cobra Kai, and Daniel still has unanswered questions, and then that could be a good connection of how him and Mr. Hun come together, and then that's how the story goes. And then so the title is Karate Kid Legends. So yeah, I think that we could be right on that theory. It could all end in Cobra Kai, and there's still unanswered questions for Mr. Miyagi that then leads into the film.
I wonder if the guy that Mr. Miyagi killed is anything to do with Mr. Hunt. There's something else there,
Hmm.
like could be his granddad or his dad
Yeah.
or
And now I'm trying to really remember the is it 2010 Karate Kid with Jaden Smith in. And I'm trying to think of Mr. Hand's character of if he'd
well,
ever like referenced any kind of brothers or anything like that.
this is I need to rewatch that because I was never really a fan of it. It was all
Oh
right.
really?
But that's your era's Karate Kid, really.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of in the middle because obviously I grew up with the 80s one, but then I watched that and I was the same as you. I was like, this doesn't hit the same. It's not so it's not karate.
It's Kung
It's
Fu.
kung fu. Yeah, kung fu. So it was like a very big twist to it, but still cool. But I get what you mean. It doesn't have the same feel. I don't think.
I've said this before, and I think it was on an episode where with Tony, where I was trying to sell Cobra Kai to him, and I was like, see, I never liked that one because one of my things was, well, it's not karate, it's not Daniel, it's not Mr. Miyagi, like they've completely changed it, it's not right.
Yeah.
But now, because they've done that, it now means we get a multiverse where the two
Yes.
are making films and the universes can collide. So I'm like, do you know what? Because I love Jackie Chan, I like Jaden Smith, and I really hope he
Yeah.
makes an appearance.
Yes. And
No.
I don't want to go off track too much because we could probably go into a whole episode at the end of season 6 of Cobra Kai. But one last point from me is I've heard the directors saying that they love having a Karate Kid universe, and there's a lot of ideas they've got. Imagine a kind of prequel of the Karate Kid, where we see Mr. Miyagi as a young guy learning his karate and how he sort of just distanced himself from karate. Maybe that could be a cool little adventure to
Oh, I'd
take.
love to see the story of him in Okinawa as a youngster with Sato.
Yes,
Story
yes,
of
really bringing the whole universe in. That could be cool.
it's another name I can't remember, but Kumiko is the girl that Daniel likes and chosen to
Yes,
end up with. I can't remember her aunt's name, that Mr. Miyagi's long lost love.
that's
Uh,
it. Come on, do the search.
I've
You're
got
the
to do,
research guy today.
I'm research. I'm
Go
here.
for go for Karate Kid 2 and see the
I know
cast.
which one it is.
How to
You
offend a
can,
Karate Kid fan.
yeah. I mean, I was gonna chat. I've got the Karate Kid poster. It's in the kitchen now, but I was like, I
Oh
was gonna
man,
change it up and put it up there. Get
yeah,
down to HMV, mate. They've got so many of them. But to be
yeah, I
honest,
love the
if you've got
Karate Kid.
much space.
Don't you worry. There's a whole wall here that's going to be filled soon.
Yeah, but your posters, which have now like a personal, your posters, I don't think they're as big as mine, are they? Unless it's a strange angle.
They're quite no, they are pretty big. I can only fit three on my wall there. So yeah, they're.
So they
Oh,
look
what?
like
So yours is bigger than mine, is it?
always has been, son. Always has been. Mine's older, more experienced. Don't start going down that route, Ryan. Don't go down that route. Right. What else do we need to cover? I'm trying to think because we kind of bits and bobs.
Bits and
We
bobs.
we
Um,
didn't really go into all of the younger cast. I'm not saying what I said before. The storyline. There's a storyline for you. Sam and the guy. Is it the guy from the Iron Dragons? Is he from the Iron
yes.
Dragons or is he from
Yeah.
the ones who get disqualified?
No, Iron Dragons. Yeah, he's with the. It's annoying that I don't remember these new characters' names, but it's just because they're
There's
only
so
newly
many.
introduced. Yeah, there's too many characters to remember names of. Um, yeah, he was. I didn't really like him at first. I thought he was a bit of a stale character, but then obviously we see why he's kind of held back and that brute kind of character, which was obviously very cool because again, like I said, each thing is a knock-on effect that leads to something else, which was again in the instance of this. Obviously, they're just another karate dojo that come into it, and you don't think too much of it. And it turns out that the sensei is using physical abuse against them while training, and the reason is because he's a badass that was recruited by Terry Silver. Um, so yeah, I didn't like his character at first, and he weirded me out a few times, especially the scene on the beach with Sam when he just leans in to kiss her, and it's like she didn't give it. I don't think she gave off anything to signal that either. But then he's obviously got a lot going on.
It's ironically, I watched an episode of Friends earlier. Do you remember Ross and Monica's cousin, Denise Richards,
Oh yeah, yeah,
where they're all love it, and Ross tries it on with her?
yes,
It's kind of like that scene. Is like
yeah.
he's like she chose the movie. She chose that movie. She chose to open the
That's
bottle of
him.
wine, and he leans in, and then he's his voice. He's like, say something, say anything, use words. It's kind of like that moment.
Yeah, but I think he was cool to watch fighting, and I really I found it quite comical how he was just kind of staring down Miguel towards the end of the season as well. Miguel's like, "What the hell is this guy's problem?" And I didn't think Sam was going to say anything at first. I thought that she was just going to leave it, and then it leads to something more explosive in the next part, maybe. But she come out with it, and then when it was obviously the big fight brawl at the end, and they got their little kind of fight in there. Only a small chunk. I thought we might have saw a bit more there, but
Well, that fight. Let's obviously if we round up what we're talking about realistically with that, unless it's I mean other story arcs, the
I think
Tori and Robbie. There's that
yeah,
story arc. They all lead to that brawl and what
yeah,
happens there, and it's brilliant because I was not expecting that brawl. I was
no,
expecting a fight,
no.
and I thought it got heavy, but that brawl was a fucking brawl.
That was so cool how they done that. The whole choreography choreography of it, like it was so good how they planned it all, and I found it so funny that what sparked it was the Russian group that got disqualified. The guy just
That's what I
comes back
mean.
and just knocks him out, and it's like, ah!
He knocks the fuck out of that host. You just weren't expecting it. Literally not expecting that scene at all. And like I said, when they got disqualified, it was kind of like, for me, it felt like the whole fucking flying home from Japan and turning around and going back. It was like, what was that was, but it's like, what was the point of that? Like they got disqualified, so Cobra Kai back in because you were like, oh my god, Cobra Kai's out. What's going to happen? This is going to cause them to go fucking crazy. They're
Yeah,
going to be the ones that cause a brawl. But then 20 minutes later, or in the next episode, they're back in. These guys disqualified for steroids. You're like, I didn't even really care about them. Why am I worried about steroids? And the fact they just turn up, roided out,
yeah,
roided out, fucking start this brawl, and everyone's just going for everyone. Everyone's got a problem with something. Like, this is the
yeah,
fucking moment.
yeah. This is the time to kick ass.
But do you not think, realistically, that TV live feed went on way too much?
Way too long. Yeah, way too long. The way that the camera guy just doesn't think, maybe I should end this stream. It's just still going. People across the world are just watching this. And then when does it cut? No, the live stream carries on the whole way, right? Up until he like stabs himself.
Yeah, until Kwan dies. So, like,
Oh, man.
there's a live death on TV, which realistically should never have happened because,
Yeah.
I mean, like, TV feeds and something like that. It's like you'd think there is someone that isn't in that room and a producer in someone's ear going,
Cut it.
yeah, stop that now and just throw something up. We'll be back shortly.
Someone in the studio is like, no, this is TV gold. Keep it going.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Rolling. Because it's just but it's the fact that, like I said, when I'm like, okay, it gives Amanda and everyone at home the chance to see what's going on. But again,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be seeing that. They should not be seeing that.
Yeah.
They kick some fucking arse. And
Yeah. It was a great scene, that whole brawl.
February that we get to
The next part, the final part. Yeah.
February.
I don't like that they've split it up into three parts. Maybe that's just my unhealthy binge watching thing that's come about, but I wish it was two parts. I wish it was just the whole thing, but I get why they've done it, and I do appreciate it because I've actually got a video coming out soon. Just a little plug there, Scotto Club, follow. But I've got a video coming out just talking about how streaming platforms have ruined us and the binge watching culture. So I get why they've done it, and again, it brings the excitement back. As we're here right now talking about it, we're talking about what's happened, and we're talking about what we think's going to happen next, and it's building that excitement, getting everyone talking. Then part 3 is going to land, everyone's going to be on it, everyone's going to be talking, it elongates it all, and then obviously, I believe it is next year that we get the Karate Kid movie as well, I'm pretty sure, so it keeps the talking going all the way, and then it doesn't lose momentum, which is pretty clever marketing, really.
Massively. And because we didn't really talk about it, Robbie, Tori, Kwan, and I can't remember the girl's name, the TikToker.
Yeah,
Such
again.
Again, the way that led into the fight as well, because obviously Kwan's winding Robbie up, and it was clever how he did that, because obviously
Yes.
his eyes, he looks like they're kissing or they're getting close to each other when obviously Tori's not interested. So Robbie becomes a little player and takes her home.
Do you think anything happened in that room?
I kept thinking that was going to get brought up.
Because the way that he come out and he was like, I don't remember what happened, and then she kind of froze, and then she was like, well, lucky that I did. It was kind of like a moment to be like, oh, I can twist this and play it a little.
Or a redemption for the fact that Robbie's not done anything wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, maybe we get... I feel like the next part, she will become more of a nicer character and reveal, like, nothing did happen, blah, blah, blah. We get that kind of nice end into it.
Because of the whole situation. Because that's realistically what led to Kwan dying.
Yes, yeah.
It's not
Like I said,
because-
again, the knock-on effect of everything has all led to that point. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in this final part, because this is the end of Cobra Kai as well. Like, this is going to be the end after, and it was quite a nice moment that I actually got like a little bit like chilly when they all were like, "This is the last time we're going to be together," and it was like two sides. It was a little bit cringy, but also at the same time very nice and
It was a
heartwarming. Like,
reminder. It was a
yeah, and it's a
reminder for
reminder that
us.
it's, yeah, and they've done so well because I really thought that they might stretch it to 3 seasons max, and when they just kept the story going and reintroducing old characters, I was like, oh my god, this is going to go on forever.
Again, it's one of them shows it's got better and better. Like I can name so
Yes.
many shows that started off so strong and just lost it. Dexter, the original ending to Dexter was one of the worst.
Yeah.
The fact that they managed to carry it on and it worked good for him. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's
Yep.
so good. And then The Flash. I love The Flash. First 3 or 4 seasons of The Flash, I was addicted.
Me
I
too.
don't think I've finished it, but
Me neither.
Superman and Lois is on the
Oh,
stronger. Need to get into that, honestly.
okay.
I'm desperate because we're not season four's like halfway through, I think, in America. We're not getting it. They've not told us when we're getting it. Might have to look for one of them sites that
Shh.
one of them magic stick things. Because everyone's raving how good this season is.
Oh,
And
really? Wow.
I said it before. It's one of them that someone pointed out that this is going to be the first time in movie and TV history that Superman actually gets an ending to his story.
Ah, that's
Christopher
nice.
Reeve was meant
Yeah.
to have a final film, never did. Brandon Routh never got a second sequel. Superman and Superman and Lois, Lois and Clark, the '90s TV show, ended on a cliffhanger that never got.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Henry Cavill never got a
Yeah.
final. He had a yo-yo experience on the fucking role. So Superman and Lois definitely getting an actual ending to an arc, and he's so fucking good as Superman. So good.
Yeah, I'll have to check it. I need
Have
to
you not
check it
watched
out.
any of it?
No, no, I've not watched that.
It's, it's on the BBC iPlayer. First 3 seasons. Gotta go sneaky for the newest one. Mr. Host, I don't know. Think I was only thinking we was only going to do about a half-hour chat, but I think with the 2 parts of this episode, I think we're about an hour. So you're the host. What do we do? Do we carry on? Do we come to an end, wrap it up, go play some COD?
I think we fight.
Oh, Daniel's
Daniel-san.
Daniel,
I think
Anthony.
that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
What do you think?
Uh, yeah, I think we've chewed everyone's ear off enough about Cobra Kai. If you haven't seen it, then I'm not sure why you're still listening because we gave you a spoiler warning. Even though it was late, we still gave you a spoiler warning. And go watch it. Get a feel for it yourself and be ready for February. I am super excited for the final part. I guess the final question to you is, what's your theory? How's it ending? And how do you think it might lead to the movie?
I think we've covered it. I think either the movie
You
will be the continuation of the Mr. Miyagi story, which would be
okay?
amazing,
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
or that will come to an end and we'll get the Mr. Harm. We'll get a reason to why that movie's happening towards the end.
Yeah,
But I really like this theory that Mr. Miyagi's story could be the part
we're
because
playing on that one.
it's being talked about, but we're not getting there quick enough. And I feel like maybe they are dragging it out because he is the be all and end all. Mr. Miyagi is the
Yes.
be all and end all of it. And speaking of that, have you seen? Oh, I was watching clips yesterday. Have you seen clips of him, Pat Mariata, talking normally?
Yes, I see a clip as well.
It's so mad, so mad.
Oh yeah,
Even what's his name who plays Chosen? Yugi Okamoto, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
I've not
He
heard him speak.
he's he's like full American accent. So how strong obviously they've got Oriental descent for the pair of them, but
Yeah,
how strong and well they play that accent without it being a cliche or being perfect.
yeah, it's really good.
Did you see that clip where he starts talking about how he discovered it? He goes,
Discovered
it's
the
like
axe. Yeah,
Miyagi's mind, Miyagi's spirit, and he goes into
yeah,
the accent.
yeah. The transition, you're like, oh my god.
Because did you see also the clip where that he talks about how he nearly didn't get the part? One producer
No, I
did
don't think.
not want him to have it, but
Can you
then
imagine?
could you imagine? And also, but there was one guy that did, and when they were going through all the audition tapes, and he pointed to him and went, "He's the one. That's Mr. Miyagi there." And the guy was like, "That's the one you said you didn't want. He's the one. He's got the
Oh
part."
man, he is Mr. Miyagi. He is the one. Absolute legends. I want to rewatch the movies before the next part comes out of Cobra Kai as well, because I've not watched the Karate Kid movies in a couple of years at least. I think there's been once in the last maybe year or two that it's been on TV, but I've never like watched it from the start. It's just come on, and I just need to rewatch them because I love those
That
movies.
they are all in the I think one, two, and three at least are on Netflix. They were. Whether they're still there, I'm looking for Pat Morata to find the name of a film that I saw him in. But I think, yeah, at least one and two are on there. They come and go on Netflix, so you can find it. But there was a film, I remember watching it with my dad. It's one of their memories. It's a film with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Let me have a look. 1990s. It's got to be the 90s. Big Bird, Captive Hearts.
Yeah, because I think I've seen him in another movie, but I
This
just
is
don't
it's,
remember it properly.
it's the most silliest bit, but basically there's this film Jean-Claude Van Damme's in it. He goes to this town and he's in a diner and he's like, needs a help. There's a girl there that Jean-Claude Van Damme likes working behind the diner. It's obviously the love interest. And then he meets Mr. Miyagi, Pat Moriarty, and like, somehow whatever he needs, he's like, I'll give you a hand. And Jean-Claude Van Damme goes to leave the restaurant, and as he walks out, he's like smirking at the girl, like, "Hey, bye." And he turns and he walks straight into the door. And then he sort of embarrassed walks out, and then Pat Moriarty picks up, puts his hat on, and he goes, "See, Wonder, I told you it was going to be a good day." And he turns around and does the exact same thing, and walks straight to the door. And I just remember losing it. Like my dad was like, I just kept one of them moments where I was like 9, 10, where I just kept going back and laughing. It's a stupid watching it back. It's not even as funny as I remember, but it's so good. He's so
Oh
funny.
man.
Right,
Yeah,
wrap
well,
us up then.
I'll wrap us up. Cobra Kai, Part 3, February. You don't want to miss it, and I'm sure that we'll have an episode recapping that as well. And I'm sure that there'll be loads of talk here at the Talks with Dorks podcast on the movie when that is ready to come out, and when we get a trailer, we'll definitely be covering that. But until then, you have been listening to Talk Dork podcast. Ryan, give
I
us
am.
your outro, fella.
I'm good. I was gonna give us some bit of social media plugs because
Oh, yeah, yeah,
you've
yeah.
already.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm the host today. I'll do that. I was letting you take your socials first.
That's what
I
I'm
will
saying.
cover the talks with dorks.
Are you also going to remember the little promo we have to do as well? Or is that on me?
No,
You're the host,
you
so
do that one. You do that one.
right, I'll give that to you.
You're
Don't worry. I'll give you my socials. Then you give yours. I'll do the little promo. It's cool. We figured it out. You're the host. You tell me what I'm doing. It's
That's
fine.
right.
I'm at the DJ Ryan S on everything: Facebook, TikTok, X, and Instagram. Go give me a follow.
Love it. And I am at Scotto Club across all platforms. That is Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Oh yeah, I don't have a YouTube, but well I do, but it's just for me.
Yeah. So you want to do our little plug before we exit?
Yes, so don't forget, if you're a card collector in any form, Pokemon, Superman, Batman, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever cards you collect, go to treefroggrading.com and make sure you use the code TWD15 for 15% off. And as a bonus, we shouldn't tell you this, but it's a little secret. If you buy a bundle from them that already gives you a discount, you can add our discount on top of that as well. And as a great man always says, he who dares wins.
I love it. I love it. Make sure you get onto that. And of course, just before you sign off from us, be sure to follow us over on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X at Talk Dork Podcast. We will see you in the next one.
See you later.